I want my children, my grandchildren to know who they are and feel proud of that. I want them to understand who the Gurindji people are. I mean, I'm proud of my Gurindji heritage. They will be immersed in a culture that they know nothing about, and they'll come away better people.
In the setting sun, children dance to remember the 200 Gurindji, Warlpiri and Mudburra stockmen who walked off the cattle station and called for their lands to be handed back. For the first time, Charlie King has brought his entire family back to country. This land is not only the birthplace of land rights, but it's where Charlie King's mother was torn from family and country, one of the stolen generations.
That's a great goal. Mum said she thought they were just going for a ride, and then she tried to get off, but they wouldn't let her off, and they tied her on the horse, I think, in the end, because she was just beside herself, because it all was clear to her that they were taking her away.
Down a red, dusty road, Charlie King is taking his children and grandchildren back to his mother's country. Eucalyptus hangs thick in the air as the convoy tracks towards the remote Limbunya station, 140 kilometres from Kalkarindji towards the West Australian border. The functioning cattle station still holds much family history.
Aborigine accommodation at Vesti's Limbunya station is better than average.
Limbunya, like Wave Hill, was owned by English aristocrat Lord Vesti. 2 years after the Wave Hill walk-off, about 60 Aboriginal workers on Limbunya station also walked off and joined what had become a territory-wide strike.
And she was just a little girl, and they lived on the edge of the station as the tribes always did. You know, they were allowed to take on some sort of work and jobs and whatever. Yes, we've just come back to sort of go to the waterhole because that's where they took her away, I think, when she was about 8 years of age. So
the station manager's house stands just kilometres from the old homestead where Charlie King's family lived. A few photos on the walls of the homestead tell the last stories of old life on the station. His grandfather was the local policeman, his grandmother a domestic worker.
How long ago was that?
Well, that's 1940, and Nana would have been taken away 100 years ago.
Cracked concrete is all that remains of Charlie's mother's home.
Thousands of years the Gurindji people lived here long before the white man came, and so that's a very sacred rock hole. What's really important is when we're here is we have to tell the spirits over in the water over there that we've arrived at this sacred place. You can't just appear, you've got to throw the rocks in to alert the spirits that you're there. And she would have told me that many, many times. She would have figured, I think, that one day I would come back here. Ready, set, let's go. Go. Yep, go.
Charlie describes the waterhole as his mum's old playground.
Swimming?
Yeah,
running
jumping
around,
off
playing with her sister.
Yeah, just being free.
Yeah.
Just loving this amazing country.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that Nana was here.
Yeah, would you think?
As a little girl.
She would have come down here, Mia, to this, and she would have swam in that. I said, what do you remember of your childhood? And she said, I just remember riding bareback on horses wherever I wanted to go. I'd just take off and ride and ride and ride, and then I'd come back, and my mum would say, where did you go? You've got to stay around here, you know. But she'd just ride away. And then eventually they came and got her and took her away from here.
This is the land where his mother was taken away on horseback.
The Gurindji men, about 5 of them, followed those horses for more than a week. And Mum knew that they had spears and they had weapons that they were carrying, and they were obviously looking for a way in which they could get those children and bring them back. But they were afraid of the guns. They knew of the massacres. They knew that how strong the weapon was, and they didn't want to fail in what they were doing, but I think they followed them for a week on foot. And then in the end, Mum said one night she looked and they weren't there, and she realised that they must have gone back without the kids.
They were taken to the Carlin compound in Darwin, a reserve used to segregate and control Aboriginal people. There, the 3 girls were separated.
And they separated them because they didn't want them to speak their language. And so they were all alone, and they had big wire fences around them. And I remember she always used to say to me, one day I'm picking watermelons, Next day I'm cleaning out the toilets, and that's how much my life had changed.
Charlie's mother, Ningadi, wouldn't see this land for decades.
But what a joyous occasion it must have been when those 3 horses arrived again. 20 years later, Dad, Mum and a pack horse coming out of the east, riding into this rockhole area, and there stands her mum, and, you know, it must have been must have been amazing, really. Must have been.
The King family have retraced those steps, reconnecting with family history.
It's just so important, family history. Everybody wants to know their family history, and we've got a pretty special one. This is where we came from. If this didn't all happen, I guess we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And it's important to know.
It's a good story. It's a positive story, and here we are. And the kids are here, and they understand it's important, they understand it. And you've got to learn your history, you've got to understand who you are and how it all got to here. And if they learn that and they feel proud about it, then that's a good thing.